What if I told you that one of the most common pieces of financial advice, that all debt is bad, is actually costing you a fortune? Seriously. Today we're gonna tear that old idea apart. We're gonna get to the absolute truth about debt, and I'll show you exactly how to spot the difference between borrowing that builds incredible wealth and borrowing that absolutely destroys it.
To really get this, let's look at a tale of two people. Let's call them Person A and Person B. Now, Person A was taught that debt is a four-letter word, super dangerous, so she avoided it like the plague, lived below her means, and was a fantastic saver. On the flip side, you have Person B. He was taught something different, that debt is a tool, and he learned how to use it, strategically.
So Person A, she did everything we're told is the responsible thing to do. And by the time she's 55, she's got no credit card debt, her car is paid off, and a really respectable $180,000 saved up. I mean, sounds pretty good, right? A solid outcome.
But then, you've got Person B. At the exact same age, his net worth is $1.4 million. Yeah, you heard that right, over 7 times more. So how'd he do it? Well, he used a mortgage to buy a rental property that made him money, and he invested his extra cash instead of frantically paying down a super low-interest student loan.
So what gives? The difference here wasn't that he was smarter or had a higher income or got lucky. Nope, it all boiled down to one single, powerful idea. Not all debt is created equal. And understanding this, really understanding it, is the key to a completely different financial reality.
See, most of us get stuck on labels. We're taught to put debt into these neat little boxes. A mortgage is good debt, a credit card is bad debt. But that's way too simple, and honestly, it's just wrong a lot of the time. The real difference, the thing that actually matters, has nothing to do with the label on the loan. It has everything to do with the math behind it.
Okay, so here it is. This is the only definition of good debt that actually matters. Good debt is any borrowing where the return you get from the thing you bought is greater than the total cost of borrowing the money. Return is greater than cost. That's it. For example, if you borrow money at 6% to buy an asset, like a rental property, that gives you an 8% return, that debt is actively making you richer. It's putting money in your pocket. That, my friends, is good debt.
And on the flip side, you've got bad debt. This is where the cost of borrowing is way higher than any financial return you get, or there's no return at all. Think about it. Using a credit card charging 22% interest to buy a dinner that's gone in an hour. The return is zero, but the cost is massive. This is a wealth-killing machine, where the math is rigged completely against you.
Okay, so now that we have the rule, let's put it to the test in the real world. You can actually think of all debt on a spectrum. On one end, you've got the most powerful wealth-building tools imaginable, and on the other end, you have the absolute most destructive wealth killers. And look, this ranking isn't my opinion or some kind of moral judgment, it's just math. It's based entirely on the potential for that debt to make you more money than it costs you. So at the very top, you have things like loans for investment properties or to grow a business, debt that's specifically designed to generate income. Then in the middle, you have things like student loans or your own home mortgage. These can be good, but they're conditional. And way down at the bottom, we find the real danger zone, consumer debt.
And that category at the bottom, that's the one we've really got to watch out for. This is where the most financial damage happens. When you're borrowing money at, say, 20 or 25% for things that are either gone instantly or lose value the second you buy them, like that vacation, the new TV, or those clothes, you're caught in a mathematical trap. It's like trying to fill a bucket that has a giant hole in it. You just can't win.
Okay, this leads us to the big question I get all the time. Should I use my extra cash to pay off debt, or should I invest it? Well, the answer isn't about how you feel. It's just simple math. Look at it this way. If you've got a credit card charging you 22%, paying that off is like getting a guaranteed, tax-free 22% return on your money. Tell me, where else are you going to find that? Nowhere, right? But if your student loan is only costing you 4%, well, you can probably do better by investing that money in the market for a potential 7, 8, or even 10% return.
So the takeaway here is super simple, but it's incredibly powerful. If your debt's interest rate is higher than what you can reasonably expect to earn from investing, you always pay off the debt first. It's the highest, guaranteed, risk-free return you will ever find, period.
All right, that's the theory. But theory is useless without action, right? So let's turn this into a practical tool you can use every single time you even think about borrowing money. This is your new cheat sheet, your 5-question framework. First up, asset or consumption. Simple question. Is this thing I'm buying gonna make me money, or is it just gone?
Second, does the math work? Is that potential return greater than the total cost of borrowing? Third, can I service the debt? Can I easily make the payments without freaking out every month? Fourth, have I stress tested it? Does this whole plan fall apart if one little thing goes wrong? And finally, number 5, what's my exit strategy? How am I actually going to pay this thing off? If you can't get a clear yes on all 5 of these, you just walk away. Simple as that.
Now, I really want to double down on that 4th question, the stress test. This is so important. A good plan can't just work when everything is perfect. You have to ask yourself the tough questions. What happens if my income takes a hit? What if interest rates jump up? If a tiny little thing going wrong makes the whole plan explode, the deal was too fragile and too risky to begin with. This one step will save you from so many headaches.
So when we wrap this all up, what's the big idea? The goal isn't to live a life with zero debt. That's the old way of thinking. The goal is to build the right relationship with debt. It's about understanding it, respecting its power, and using it as a deliberate tool to build the life you want, not letting it become a trap that holds you back. So the real question you have to ask yourself is this: is your debt a tool that's building your future, or is it a cage that's holding you back?